I was born into this wasteland. Generations after the suns around our planet exploded. I killed everything weaker than me, and I was tortured by everything stronger. I enjoyed it, and soon there was no one stronger. But even then, I felt that there should be something more. Then they appeared in their flying machines. Bullets rained like cleansing fire. It was beautiful. So I decided to sign up, to take a stand against the apocalypse with hope, brutality with order. We are humanity's last chance. We are a band of defenders.
I'm John Romero, and I'm a game designer and programmer, and I co-founded id Software and was behind Doom, Wolfenstein, and Quake.
Good evening. Yes, this is me. Good evening. Oh, come on. Good evening. Okay. My name's Carr. Thanks for having me. First of all, before we get started, let's get a feel for exactly what kind of crowd we've got. Who's a gamer? Oh, half and half. Who actually works in the games industry? Any game designers? Any artists? Any artists outside the games industry? Animators? Any audio? Oh, there's a few. I'm not talking to an empty room. That's fantastic. Okay, so a little bit about myself before we get started. My name's Rob. I'm from the UK originally, specifically Nottinghamshire, home of Robin Hood. And many years ago, I used to work in education. I used to teach music and music technology at college. And I just so happened to be lucky enough to teach the guy that used to be the studio president of Rockstar Leeds, who at the time was working on a PSP game called Beaterator, which is a handheld music sequencer for PlayStation Portable. The upside of this was it was like a little programming thing that you could do your own music on. The downside is, in a studio of 70 people, they didn't have anyone that could really focus too much on the audio. So I had a phone call from him saying, I've got a job for you, if you want it. It's an easy job. What you've got to do is fix the audio. As in, you've got to make the sounds nice and tidy, and get them into the game, and compose some music for it. Okay, what's the catch? No catch, other than you have to relocate from Nottingham to Leeds, which is about 70 miles. Okay, fair enough. So, that was 11 years ago. I started off at Rockstar working on handheld stuff, and we worked on Chinatown Wars for the DS. We then did Chinatown Wars for the PSP, we did Beaterator. Then we had a lovely phone call from a team over in Bondi, called Team Bondi, who was working on LA Noir. They asked for some help to release a game that Rockstar were publishing. So Rockstar Leeds were introduced to LA Noir, and we were told basically, you need to help fix this game. Okay, no problem. So with that, my journey into the games industry really took off. Prior to that, all I was doing was music-related stuff. After that point, I went into UI and user interface with the Rockstar Social Club, which is most of the work that I did on LA Noir. I did some audio work on that as well, most of the ambient sounds that you hear. But after that, we did some work on Red Dead Redemption 1. again, I was helping out with the ambient sound on that. After that, we were all brought in for GTA 5. Who's heard of GTA 5? Grand Theft Auto 5. One or two then. This was kind of a big deal. It is a big franchise for anybody that works in the games industry to be a part of. And my main job on that was to create the ambient sounds of the entire game world and to focus on the random character missions. These are the missions that are played outside of the main story missions. And that is what we was tasked with doing at Leeds. Now, that was where I really started getting into audio design, and not just from a creating a sound perspective, but an implementation sound as well. Now, what I'm going to discuss tonight is very different to what you may or may not expect. Tonight I'm going to talk about the psychology of audio. Due to the way that Rockstar work and current processes that I'm working in, it's difficult for me to discuss working practices that I'm currently working on and what I have worked on. So tonight we're going to discuss things a little bit different but related to what I've worked on in the past. So, moving briefly back, after GTA 5, we worked on Red Dead Redemption 2, which you may have seen the trailer for recently a couple of days ago. And I left Rockstar back in 2016 for many reasons. The main reason being is I didn't fancy working 70 hour week again. But the main reason being I wanted to do something different, so I went freelance. So I started working as a freelance sound designer and started working in the film industry as well. I spent a certain amount of time working at Pinewood Studios in London, which you may be familiar with their work. They were the guys that are responsible for Wonder Woman, all the Harry Potter films, Beauty and the Beast, and recently Star Wars. So, reasonably big name. I was working on some virtual reality stuff with them, which again got me into how we work with sound and how that is affected and how we can use sound to point users in the right direction. And one of the things that I'm going to discuss tonight is that how what you hear is not directly related to what you see. I'm going to show you a brief clip in a minute. I want you to tell me what it is that you think you can hear. Just let this play out for you. We often hear sounds that are different every day. Some sounds we hear so frequently that we take them for granted. What's that sound like? What can we see? Shout it out. You took it out. Actually, what you're hearing isn't really what you see. More often than not, we trust that what we hear is accurate. Sometimes what we hear and what we see are not as they seem. Sorry, vegans. That rainstorm you just heard, all of it is the same bit of bacon cooking. My point behind this is very, very simple. What we see and what we hear are very, very different. They are not related. A sound designer's job is to make a sound what we think it should sound like, rather than what it actually does sound like. I call this the Hollywood effect. A good example of this Is anybody that's watched any Hollywood movie at all and heard the guns that they use? They don't sound like that in real life. They really don't. Now, everything that you hear in a Hollywood movie isn't real. It's done after the fact. And the whole point behind it is it's for the viewer or the listener, it's to insinuate what it should sound like rather than what it actually does. Sometimes, however, we just can't edit that. A good example of that is explosions, big explosions, like tank sounds, like us. Big explosions, big guns, big weapons, you still have to source them from the original guns because you can't mimic, you can't replace a bang with anything other than a loud bang. It is what it is. However, as you just found out with the bacon, all the things you can be a little bit more sort of curious with. Now, context is the next subject. Now we've decided that what we see and what we hear aren't really related. We can fool the listener into thinking that they're hearing something when actually what it is that they're listening to is completely different. The next job of a sound designer is to add that into a context. Now I'm going to show you a music video now. You have to bear with me, it's quite long. But it's a good example of how context is key. Now this is a song by Rihanna. So I'm going to let this play out a little bit. Not a big Rihanna fan myself, but for the purposes of what I'm discussing, it's a really good video. Now it's important to take in what you visually see here. Now, I'm sure in a production meeting, this seemed like a good idea at the time. Problem is, you give it to someone like me, and say, do some sounds for this. All I have to go on is visually my cues. We've all been there. We've all been there. Context is king. An audio designer can make or break anything. Literally, as you've just seen, anything. What seems like a really good idea sometimes isn't necessarily forced to be a good idea on retrospect. And that's a really good example of how you can take one thing and make it sound and feel like something completely different just by changing the sounds. Now, in the games industry, this is a little bit more sort of detailed. In the games industry, we don't have a linear platform to work on. In a movie, I can go from here to here. When we play this video back later, I will do exactly that same thing over and over again at exactly the same point. In a video game, I might not. I could do anything, anywhere, and it would be completely and utterly at the player's discretion. So we have to adapt the sound design to incorporate what may or may not be chosen to happen. Now, the way that we do this is we can use tools and we can use context and we can use creativity when designing our sounds. Like we can use bacon frying to create rain. We can use white noise and clever filtering to produce wind noises. Other sounds which we might not want to sort of synthesize, we might want to get the real recordings, might be something like thunder and lightning, because that sounds great. So we might want to source that from the original source material. Go outside in a thunderstorm, hold the microphone up, and hope you don't go bang. However, we have to then implement that into a video game, and that's the bit that people don't understand. It's great saying, okay, I can go out and I can record these sounds, and I recorded bacon, and I did some clever mixing with volumes, and it sounded like a rainstorm. But that's for a linear platform. What about the video game? How do we get it from the frying pan, if you will, into the Unreal Engine, or whichever game engine it is that you're using, into a way that when the listener hears it, it sounds like it's supposed to sound. Now, I've done some examples this evening for specifically to show off what I do in my workflow. Now, this isn't exactly how we do things at Rockstar, but it's a really good place to start. It's very, very similar in workflow to what we were doing at Rockstar. It's a very similar workflow to what I'm doing currently at Wargaming. Wargaming is where I'm currently working, over in Brno. Wargaming, if you don't know, are responsible for World of Tanks. One of the things that I'm doing there is we're trying to build up the audio for the project that I'm working on a level that is both immersive and reactive. So we have two goals that we're trying to deal with. The first goal is, can we make the player totally immersed in what it is that they are seeing? And the second one is, can we make that game sound reactive to what's going on? Now, there's ways that we can do this. As a sound designer, it's my job to design the sound. It's my job to find what these sounds are, find out how I can get them, and implement them. As a designer, or an audio designer, the design part of the audio designer, it's my job to implement them as well. Some companies, they just have one guy that goes, here is a lovely bit of sound, and then the designer, who usually makes the machines, goes, thank you, and then they'll make sure that it goes in. Some sound designers, like myself, are a little bit more technical. They want to sit down, and they want to work out the maths behind it, and they want to work out, how do I get this noise into the game, and how do I get it to move and react in the way that I want it to react? So, I use birdsong as a really good example. Who's heard birds singing outside? How many people have heard the same bird singing the same song? Probably not many of you. Unless there's always that one bird at 5 o'clock in the morning that seems to be very loud and repeat the same tweet over and over again. We got in front of that. Mostly in ambiences, you don't hear the same thing twice. People use loops all the time in audio. And the problem is when you use a loop, you only have a certain length. And then it goes back to the beginning. And then it goes back to the beginning. And then it goes back to the beginning. Then it goes back to... You can see how this can get real old real quick. So how do we create an ambience which is both interesting but doesn't get irritating? So the way that we do this is, instead of having really one super long ambient file, we don't. We just have short, small tweets, just the whistle, and then we bring that into a software called middleware. I use Wise, which is the industry standard at the minute, as is Fmod. Some people use all sorts of different sort of middleware. Some companies use their own. Rockstar use their own. They didn't use anyone else if they had their own in-house. but between me, you and the lamppost, it's very similar to wires. So, when we put it into there, we can then say, we can add conditions to that sound. We can say, okay, here's this sound. I want you to play it at a different pitch every time it's played. I want you to loop this sound, or I want you to change the volume of this sound. And then we can add that sound to a mix. Or if we have lots of sounds, we can say, okay, randomly pick one of these sounds, so that one of these sounds will randomly play every time it's played. And then we can add a randomized pitch to that. So every time you play that one bird tweet, it plays at a slightly different pitch. And we can then say, okay, well, I want a slight change of when it's played. So add a delay, so that it's no longer playing just a tweet, it's going to play 2 or 3. But they're all at different pitches. And because it's randomized, we suddenly have birdsong that we can use. Now, when we start using birdsong, and we use different kinds of birds, different breeds, robins, sparrows, pigeons, we can start being a little bit more creative. All we're using at this stage is just one very tiny, small tweet. And the reaction that we have is we will get a random bird song that sounds different every time it's played. But then we have the problem of how do we get that one bird into a game sounding good? And we do this by being technical. Now I've got some sort of pictures here on... No, I don't. There we go. I've got some photos here, which is how I created... this is basically one of the things that I do in the Unreal Engine. We create our own maths. It's all modular, so as you can see, we can say when something plays, when we begin to play something, we want to do something. In this case, I'm going to load in an ambient bank. This bank is a briefcase full of my sounds. If I don't have a briefcase with me, I can't find the sounds. So the way that we do that is, as soon as I get somewhere to do something, I'm given the briefcase full of the sound. Okay? What do? Well, I want to play something on a timer. So between 1 and 3 seconds, I'm going to play a sound. So the question is, what sound do I play? More importantly, where do I play? This gives me where I'm going to play my sound. Now, without getting too technical, what this is a box, believe it or not. It's a box that I can create anywhere in my game world, and I can say this box is the area of which I want to play those sounds. But more specifically, what this does is, this bit here gets scaled box extent, that's my box. The rest of it tells me to pick a point in that box. So all of this is a maths-based thing. This is where the maths and the designing side comes a bit. Most sound designers tend to shy away from this because they boot it up, they look at it and go, no. Some people don't. Personally, I don't like. So, this is what it looks like a little bit neater. My ambient zone is on the left, that's my box. And then we get our random location, that's what that previous one was. That's how it looks when it's neat and tidy. This tells us something quite flickery. This is something that is used in wires. This is the audio side of things, the middleware. And what this does is this gives us a sliding scale. So we'll go into this in a little bit more detail later. What I'll do is I will show you a video clip. Now what this is the ambient zone, which I've just shown you the maths for. This is from the Unreal Engine 4. This is their kite demo. And you can see the big yellow box around the island. That is our box extent. Now the white spheres that you see that are randomly appearing, there are birds singing. Just one single tweet. Suddenly we've gone from one bird tweet to an ambience, which will never be the same twice. Now, because it's dealing with maths, we can increase or decrease the frequency at which we hear the birds. We can add that into a time frame, so we can say, okay, between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. we want to hear these birds, but after that one we don't, because birds sleep at night. We can add conditions to that on loud sound, so that if we fire a gun, it stops all the birds from playing. But if we're adding logic, where we can stop sounds from playing, then we can start sounds playing. So we can use the same logic to trigger the birds flying away. And then when the birds come back, they're all singing in a different tune. One of the next things that I worked on here was I implemented some wind, which is just a bit of white noise. For those that don't know what white noise is, it's usually the grey fuzzy thing on the TV at midnight. Bits of clever filtering. We get some wind. Notice how the real use of thunder there. You could synthesize thunder, but why bother? Is that rain or bacon? I'll give you a clue, it's the bacon. This is a really good example of how you can take everything that we've just seen and add it into a context. The only sounds that are actually being heard here is wind, thunder, bacon, and wind, bacon, and two birds tweeting. And that's it, that's all you can hear. Well, that's one aspect of sound design. That's just a practical application. That's what it sounds like when we put everything together and mix things. There's a lot more that we can go into with this, and without getting too technical and too boring for these, I'll briefly touch on sort of some of the other aspects. We can add mixing to the menu. We can add attenuation, distance. In this particular example, which I've just shown you, which you can't see in the video, but you can if you actually play the game, is a distance. The further away from the trees that you get, the trees sound different. We swap out the close sounds for the far sounds. And the way that we do that is we do that using the middleware. And that's very clever, that does all the mixing that we need to do. So we've used crazy sounds, which we've just so happened to find in our kitchen, occasional tweets that we may have heard outside of our bedrooms, and we took white noise from the TV, and we recorded a thunderstorm. And suddenly we have a game ambience. But that's just one part of game sound design. The other side of game sound design is getting that in a practical application of which users can understand and of which people can actively use. Now I'm going to show you my show reel, or one of my show reels, which basically highlights everything that I did during my stay at Rockstar and how I did it. Okay, so good at this being okay. I've been talking through a little bit about what it was that I was doing and how I did it. This is a couple of years old now.
No, I
I'm in audio, as I've just explained.
It's really good.
This is the Barry mission from GTA 5. Those that are unfamiliar with it, that's Trevor, who's not a big fan of clowns. This is one of the few missions that I did sound design for, which actually got mentioned on IGN and GameSpot as having exceptional sound design. So, why Trevor that? People that I have no idea who I am. Now we have infant laughter, based on the gravity of the game. So, as the bullets surround their hostile rounds, there's a baby that cries, we replace 25% of the bird song with baby cries. But as you hear all the time, that increases the cost rate of baby laughter. So when you kill the clowns, children laugh, and when it gets round by the children cry.
Okay, you hear that? He's working. You're downwind, so he's yours to lose, Trevor. Go get him. You got him. Pull the trigger. Hot shot, like a true professional.
Was something that I was working on the sound
Pull a
side.
little further in.
So that if you're concentrating,
I think we might have a
play
baby
breathing
here.
that heartbeat.
Let's check it
You're
out.
breathing calm
And
down
remember,
and
it's a
slow.
pair. We're only here for the male. No, that's my rule. So if you see one with no antlers, leave it be.
The shooting at the 111 clubs.
Whenever you have to play this game, this game is made particularly famous for its use of depth analysis that you can see the faces. Incredible facial capture with one of the main selling
There are
points.
3 parts to beat arena. Live play,
This is my first game!
video session, song crafting. Welcome. Live play gets you up and playing quickly, using ready-made plays, kind of by me, kind of by you. Record and play back your song. Check it out.
If you still have your PSP, I would recommend getting it. This is Chinatown Wars. This is actually footage from the PlayStation Portable, but it was originally available on Nintendo DS. And it's still the highest rated DS game of all time on Metacritic. Cheers, plug.
Come on, you cool?
So, that's a really good example of how I used a lot of the techniques that I was working on in context, in the real world, and in the game, in the real side of games. Now, the key with getting that to sound good isn't just in one person, it's having a very dedicated and very strong team behind you that can A, focus you in, B, support you in the decisions that it is you want to make. Rockstar and Wargaming are both very, very good at this. If you give yourselves good time, you manage it well, and you give free rein to the designers, you'll usually get good stuff back. Other sides of the game audio side, which there's so many different aspects to look at, it's almost impossible to discuss all of them, is interactive music, dialogue recording, both of which are an art form in their own right, and most studios have dedicated specific people to both of them roles. They will have dedicated audio designers specifically for dialogue, and they'll have people specifically for interactive music. I've worked on both aspects of that, for both LMR, GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. And I've also seen the opposite side of the coin, working down at Pinewood Studios, where I've sourced the dialogue and I've helped with the casting and directing. I've also been part of the music side of things, using sort of Beta-Rater. And one of the things that I'm going to show you at the front of the app, which is my new show reel, This is basically everything that you hear is what I've done sound for, including the music. This is taken from Ivory Tower's The Crew. Now this is all sounds that are sourced myself. Getting from my older brother's piano, through to sugar from the kitchen, biscuit wrappers. Those that are interested, this was actually done over 3 weeks, sourcing audio from virtually everything in my house. And choosing recordings from various clips of freestyle in America. One of my friends just so happens to work at the garage and specialise in constructing cars. So Ferraris and Porsches are actually real cars and Porsches. Fortunately, I didn't get to drive it. But you will have to music is taken by a really good orchestration. That crash is what happens when you're on everything in your kitchen sink. So, everything that you heard there was all recorded in my house, apart from the vehicles. Everything else was all pretty much done using household kitchen appliances. If you get the cutlery and you drop it into a metal sink, you get a really good crash sound. If you have a biscuit wrapper and you crunch it, that sounds really good like gravel when you filter it. If you take silly things like sandpaper and you put your fingers over it, you get the sound of the lizard scurrying away at the beginning. The rock sound is a very, very simple thing done with broken biscuits, digestives, specifically for those that are interested. So you can be really, really creative with this, and you can take those sounds and you can put them into a different context and make them into something quite incredible. Now, the big question that you're probably thinking is, what's the point? Here's a task for you to do next time you're at home. Try watching your favourite film with no sound. Switch the sound completely off, put subtitles on. See how long you last. I always used to use that as an example with my students. I used to teach music technology to my students, and I always, their homework was always like, what's your favourite film? Yeah, I can do that, brilliant. Without the sound. Most people lasted 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I think, at most before they got really frustrated and they just didn't like it. The sounds, without the sounds, it's just nothing. So, what's the point of good sound design? Every point. Even if it's in a different language, that's a linguistics barrier. It's not a barrier for what you sound. If something sounds like it should sound like that, then that's a good job. Somebody once told me that good sound design is taken for granted. If you hear something that sounds terrible, just you people, then it's usually the sound's fault. If you hear something and it sounds amazing, you just automatically assume that that's how it should sound. And that is both brilliant and a shame. It's brilliant because it sounds like it should sound. But it's a real shame because somebody spent a lot of time and effort and probably far too little sleep getting it to sound the way that it sounds. And it's completely not ignored. So next time you watch a film, or next time you play a game, you think, oh, that sounds fantastic. Just bear in mind that somebody somewhere had to sit and think of that. And they didn't just have to sit and think about it, they had to source the sounds, they had to think about how they was going to source them sounds, and then they had to take them sounds and they had to implement them in some way, whether it be using Pro Tools on a linear platform, or Wise or FMOD on an interactive platform. And then they had to take the sounds that they authored and then use them and design them in a way that would be best for the interactive experience for the user. And that's the thing that really sort of separates sort of this industry from almost any other industries. It's all about the end user. And not many other sort of disciplines concentrate on that. It's all about how it looks. It's not about how it's perceived. So, I'll leave you with one last little nugget of information. Somebody once told me that the best compliment that you can pay anybody in the creative field isn't to praise them for the work that they do, it's to appreciate what it costs them to do it. And there is a cost to everything that you see and everything that you hear in the industry. Anybody that's worked in the animation field knows how long it's going to take you to get those swines sorted, to get those bones working, to get everything sorted. Anybody that works in audio knows how long it takes to source the sound. They know how long it takes to implement the sounds. Anybody that works in the programming industry knows full well that sleep is not your friend. And anybody that works in the production side of things as a producer or anything like that is probably really good at sleeping. So, I've been Rob Carr. It's been fantastic to literally just throw words at you. I hope you understand. I hope this has been enlightening. And I'm free for questions if anybody has any.
Thanks for the talk. It was awesome. I've got a few of them actually, like one actually. About the implementation. How much do you have to? Is it all in the like kind of modular type of programming, or do you have to really go into code something?
Okay, so for those that didn't hear, the question was: is the audio implementation all modular? Is there some code involved? Or is it done externally? For myself, I'm not a good coder. I can't code to save my life, which is always funny when recruiters say, we've got a job for you as an audio programmer. No, you don't. Not unless you want every compiler on the planet to stop working. So, I try and do things on an easy basis. I try and do things most of the things that I do, I try and do in Wise first. Wise, the middleware, is a very smart piece of software. It does a lot of donkey work. It adds attenuation, it adds occlusion, so that you don't have to think so much about having code support with this. There are limitations with that though. All Wise will do is say, these are the sounds I want to play, and this is how I want you to play them. But effectively, that's all it is. It's just a record player. It will just play those sounds in a way that you want to play them. The implementation side of the game engine, that's when it gets a little bit more sort of interesting and complicated. I guess I'm an exception to the rule. Most sound designers will do the sounds in Wise, and they will then send a bug back to the designer saying, this sound is now active and in code ready for you to implement. And the sound and the level designer will go, okay, I need to call this sound when this gun goes off, or when this car revs its engines up and moves, we run the revs per minute through a parameter transform. And usually it's done at the design end. With myself, I like going in and, when I was at Rockstar, everything that we did was based on their middleware and the Rockstar Rage engine. And we could literally populate the game world with sounds ourselves using that. The UI, the interface was very, very user-friendly, and you could go in and say, I want to do this, and that goes in there. It wasn't modular, like the Unreal Engine is, but it was still just tick this box, put that in there, put these coordinates in, that's what happens.
So, if you're, let's say, designing and okay, so now I'm going into the model preparation in the scene. Is it done in the device or in the engine itself? Or by who or by the coders?
It depends on what engine you're using, and it depends on how you want to deal with it. The Unreal Engine has its own what's called audio volumes, which you can set up, which are so easy to do. Where literally to, I want this box in this level here, I want it this big and this wide and this tall, and when I go into this room, I can click and drag this reverb onto that extent, and this room now has reverb, and it will apply reverb to any sound that is in that box. Usually, a level designer could do it, or a coder, but usually sound designers, because it's just click this, drag it into there, put the code, put the size extents in, and it's in. But most sound designers, because it is just clicking back, most sound designers will do that. But it all depends on the game engine that's used. It depends on how accessible that information is to the audio designer, and how confident that audio designer is in their technical ability to apply that knowledge. And it's all about confidence. I knew absolutely nothing about the Unreal Engine until I sat down and started working on a VR project in the Unreal Engine. And it was only when I sat down and thought, okay, I want to do this, how do I do it? And the coders basically said, well, you have a module for this, a module for that, we need to do this, add this equals that. Oh, okay. So that allowed me to then sort of go in and work a lot of things out on my own. The beautiful thing about the Unreal Engine 4, I'm not under any circumstances paid to tell you this, it's free for anybody to download and use. And YouTube is filled with wonderful videos. Now, what I found is one person's video for a very specific thing might not be what you want, but there might be a 2-minute section in the middle of that video where they do something that you do want, and you can use that section. Like a good example is the box extents that I was using, the big ambient zones. I saw a YouTube video of a guy that was spawning unicorns from the sky. Because YouTube, why don't you want to see the unicorns? And it's a 5-minute video, and about 50 seconds in the middle was him explaining how he created a box to randomly position things in. That's what I want. So I just took that, and instead of having the outcome spawning unicorns, I had it playing in birdsong. And I used exactly the same basic principle, and it worked for what I needed to use. But that's only because I sat down and went, right, I want something very specific. Let's Google it. And not use Google just because that's terrible for everyone. And eventually you'll find a video or you'll find a tutorial, or somebody will have a screen grab, like I've shown, and say, this is what I did, and this is how I did it. This will get you this effect. And you can go in and you can work it all out and reverse engineer what it is that they've done. The main thing with that is reverse engineer. Can you make it better? Is it functionally going to work for your needs? If it's not going to work for your needs, then you might need to change it. If it's perfectly what you want, we have a saying in England called, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Really, really basic, but it works a lot, especially in game development. Does it work? Yeah, ship it. Any more questions?
No, thank you.
Pass it on.
First of all, great talk. As a game audio designer myself, mainly experience with freelance work, and only very limited experience with in-house work, mainly for smaller indie game companies. I can't even begin to imagine how it's like to work in an audio a team such as Rockstars. I would love to hear some more about your experience with working in a bigger model team like that, as opposed to working on your own or in a smaller team with one or two other guys.
Okay, so yeah, Rockstar was it's kind of a big deal because they're a big studio, and the way that it was always introduced to me was game development at Rockstar is a massive team. When I first started working there, I was one guy of 70 people in the studio. And at the time, every Rockstar studio worked on their own games. Rockstar Leeds, where I was, we concentrated on the handheld games. So prior to me working there, they did Vice City Stories, Liberty City Stories, Warriors, games like that. After we finished Chinatown Wars, I'll just finish this question and then we're going to wrap it up. After we finished Chinatown Wars, we went on to the console games. And that opened up the studio development for literally the entirety of Rockstar. Put it into a bit of perspective, you are a very small cog in a very big machine. And it has its perks. When I say I want sorry? To put it into a little bit of perspective, I was receiving in excess of 400 emails a day, and I was part of a development team of 1,500 people for GTA 5, and I was working 70 hours a week plus. So I started at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was finishing at 2 o'clock the following morning. And I did that 7 days a week for nearly 2 years. That's what it's like working in AAA gaming. It's hard work, it's demanding, and it will cost you. Not financially, they'll reward you financially, but you have to have sacrifices. In contrast to that, the team that I'm working with at the moment, Wargaming, we have 8 people. We're also hiring, if anybody's interested, come join me. And the difference is very, very stark contrast. You know, as a freelancer, I was all on my own, but I had to travel, which isn't much fun. As a member of a small team, I actually like what I'm working at because it's a small enough team so that we can get a lot of work done. But it's also a big enough company where if I say I want this, they say, okay, yeah, no problem, we'll get that done for you. Working on the indie scene, I said, well, I really need this from the audio perspective. Budget for that. I'll just stick with playing sound, stopping sound, and maybe a cost. Yeah, that's the stark difference between AAA and indie. Is you get afforded lots of good things like, you know, I want this coding done, and within days it's done. The contrast to that was I spent a week working on an ambience for GTA 5, booted the game up the next morning, and they put Lake Chili on there. It's like, oh, click delete. 3 weeks worth of the work just out of position because I booted the game up because they've got 1,500 people working on it. Of that 1,500, 900 of those were artists. And every single one of them working on part of the map, and they're all checking in at the same time, so things change. So, yeah, I think that's about time, so thank you very much for your questions, and very much for your time.